So just first off, what was it like to prepare? I mean, you played against Roger Craig 17 times, I think, in your career. What was it?
Yeah.
What were the unique challenges in preparing to face him and facing him?
Well, I'll say this. He was a very, very, very hard runner. He had his own style. He had the high knee action, and he was not a person that was easy to bring down tackle wise. And they had a tendency to hit him, those little swing passes to him turned into huge plays because he ran so hard and he was elusive and he was powerful. Defensive backs, he was their wildest nightmare. He was a difficult guy to cover. But like I say, inside the interior line running, he was tough in there, but he was even worse once they got those little dump passes to him. He got the 1 year, he was leading the league in receiving as well as rushing. And I felt like, okay, you're on a team with Jerry Rice and Dwight Clark, and he was the leading receiver, and not just on his team, but on the league, he was difficult to cover. He was elusive and he was powerful, and mainly the power. He just was a power runner. And I think he didn't get the credit that he deserved because of all the talent that was around him.
How did he change the game, not only from an offensive standpoint, a back that could catch out of the backfield, but also maybe even defensively for what teams had to look
Well,
for in linebackers?
I say this: he was a complete back. He was a good blocker. He pass pro. He'd hold his ground. He'd stand in there and fight. And like I say, he was a very hard runner. You had to you knew you played against them. That's the typical saying back in the day. You better button up your chin strap. And because it was old school playing with Roger. He ran the ball extremely hard. He was a powerful runner. And then, like I say, he was that release valve where at the end of the day, he led the league in receiving on a team with all these people. He was the leading receiver, not just on their team, but in the league. So he was a dual threat, and it was, I mean, a major one. And it was difficult to bring down, especially, like I said, those little dump passes. He turned them into 50-yard gains and 60-yard touchdowns, on a regular.
Yeah, and I mean, not too many running backs were catching a whole lot of passes in those days before he came along. So how did that change?
Yeah,
Approach?
that's my point. Like when you really think about it, we had Eric Dickerson, who had his own style, his own kind of thing. And Roger was similar in the way he ran, but he caught much more passes. They were able to get to him, and not just the dump offs, but downfield also. Like I say, as a running back, he led the league in receiving. I want to say in 1985, he led the league in receiving, and he was close in rushing in the same year. So he was just a dual threat. He was dangerous all the time. You always had to be prepared. You had to strap up and understand this is going to be a tough, very physical game with a very physical runner that's not going down easy. I know 1 year we played him. I looked at the game afterwards on the broadcast, and O.J. Simpson said, if you want to teach a running back how to play running back, you just need to get some film of Roger Craig and have him just look at that. And so that pretty much summed it up. He played hard and tough, and he fought for every inch he got.
Not to bring back a bad memory, but what do you remember about that play in 1988 when it seemed like he ran through almost the entire
Yeah,
defense at Anaheim
yeah, that
Stadium?
was exactly and that's what I'm talking about. He wouldn't go. A lot of generally speaking, people running up those old bump hits where you hit the guy and he falls down. Well, guess what? Well, a lot of our people learned he's not that guy. You run up and bump, don't hit and wrap up. He's not going down. And so it was those kind of plays were the ones that were the backbreakers because generally speaking, all of our games were pretty close. And he would do something in most of them that just would turn it around. He had that ability to do something. Like I said, it was a basic play. Come up, people hit him. Hey, you think he's down? He's not down. He keeps running. He was always that kind of guy. Really
So
tough player.
yeah, so you're a rival of his. So why would you speak up on Roger Craig's behalf?
Well, the truth is the truth. Then at the end of the day, he was really tough. He was tough to play against, and I mean, I look forward to it because of the challenge. But he was a tough, tough player. And then I was a linebacker in nickel, so same thing, passing wise. The Jerry Rice, the Dwight Clark, and all Brent Jones. But hey, they ended up throwing him the ball where he led the league in receiving. So he was good. I mean, and at this point, credit needs to go where it needs to go. And he really was a deserved player. I always felt like he was underrated, because of what he was doing, the receiving and the rushing. He just was a really good player.
And so I think I know what you're going to say here, but is he worthy of the Hall of Fame?
I would say yes. And to be honest with you, I was really surprised that he wasn't already in the Hall of Fame. But I can see, but by, Jerry Rice getting all the pub that he got and Montana getting all that he got, Dwight Clark, so he sort of got left in the background. But I assumed he would be in there because he had his own unique style of play. And, he was on a dominant team, but he was a dominant player, and he would come up with those big plays at critical moments. In big games, he was that kind of guy.
All right. Hey, Mike, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to do this.
No problem, man. Like I said, I hope he gets in because he and Everson Wall, I was shocked that the two of them weren't in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah.
But I wish him the best of luck.
Okay, great.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank
no
you
problem.
so much. Take care.
All right. Take care.